Welcome to The Key to All of This with Tim and Dylan. I'm Dylan, and joining me today is my co-host, Tim. What's up, Tim?
Sup, Dill?
Sup, bruh? So
Sup, bruh?
we've been gone for a few weeks, and for good reasons. My sweet boy Tim just got married. Congratulations.
That's right. I put a ring on it. And Dylan, you also got married again.
I finally had my wedding.
I married you again.
I finally had my wedding ceremony. And yes, Tim and I both married each other. I was the officiant for Tim's wedding. Tim was the officiant for my wedding. So in order for us to be even, I have to marry you one more time.
Yes, well, we have to settle that score.
Yeah. And last two episodes that we did, we had a great guest, Christopher Lee. And not the Christopher Lee, but
No.
our good boy Chris Lee from the Nerdlies.
If you thought that, double the pride, twice the fall unto you.
Yikes. Do it.
Yikes o'clock.
But I just wanted to do a huge shout out to Chris and thank him for how great of a job he did. Those episodes were so much fun, and it was fun to do the live stream.
He was so great, yeah.
And we definitely have to do another few episodes with him, because that was just a great experience. But what we're going to do for this episode is Tim and I, for special episode 10 of The Key to All of This, we're going to go through our watch order of how we watch just the movies, all 11. This is including the 3 trilogies and the 2 standalones. So, Tim, let's get your 1 through 11.
Okay, film number 1 would have to be episode 4, A New Hope. Film number 2, episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Film number 3, episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Film number 4 would be episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Film number 5 would be Return of the Jedi. And then film number 6 would be episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Followed immediately by film number 7, which would be Rogue One. Film number 8, The Force Awakens. Film number 9, Solo. Film number 10 is episode 8, The Last Jedi. Film number 11 is episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
What an interesting... I would not have ever picked this viewing order. Not that I think that it's wrong. It's just, I need to know.
I'd love to defend this in a court of law.
And I'm not saying you need to defend yourself, but can you defend yourself?
Yeah, so my thinking is you start off with, the initial Star Wars.
Yeah.
First Star Wars initially didn't have a episode number, and sets up Luke's dad as this hero of the Republic, this starfighter. We then see that starfighter, and it confirms all of that. There's a little bit of foreshadowing that, he's kind of vulnerable to the dark side a little bit in episode 2.
Yeah.
But it sets up that he is the good guy. So, initial order for someone who is not familiar with Star Wars, they get the big twist of episode 5 preserved until episode 5. And then immediately after that, we see the descent of Anakin. We do a flashback. In episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so immediately going from there to getting that resolved in episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And then in between that, we have Rogue One, because I wanted to connect the many Bothans died trying to get these plans.
Many of them did.
I wanted to, many of them did. And it was initially all for naught, because it was all part of the Empire's plan to both kill them and allow them to leave with the plans. And so going from there to episode 7, and then following that with the death of Han Solo with Solo. So we kind of get a bookend on his life, seeing the end of him, and then having a flashback to seeing how he
what he
grew
was,
up.
yeah.
Yeah. And then rounding everything out with episode 8 and episode 9, getting that resolution for all
For a little
the
bit of
films.
everything, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think of that?
I think that's a great order because I've heard so many different ways that people watch the films. A lot of people negate episode 1. A lot of people go 1, 2, or I'll go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Like they kind of go in the way that they're in order. And a lot of people are just like, oh, well, I'm going to, completely ignore Rogue One or Solo. But I think that they're such an integral part of all of this. I mean, these movies are all the key to all of this, which will, our show. But yeah, it's interesting to find not an odd, but a new way of watching the movies that I wouldn't have thought of. But I agree that this is a great way to watch them. Hey, let's talk about Anakin Skywalker. Let's go back, get to know Anakin Skywalker. Then let's find out who Anakin Skywalker actually is. Then, you go back and you see, well, wait, how did this happen? So that's like a super interesting way to watch these films, and I completely approve. That's great.
I'm doing this all for your approval.
Oh, I know.
Everything
I know. Like legally on paper, since we both married each other, we have to kind of
it's true.
come to an agreement on things.
The power of the officiant gets to annul anything they officiate.
Yeah.
I believe is the legal term.
Yeah.
In many bylaws. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think with anything that either of us say to each other, only to each other, we have the state of California backing it.
Yeah, definitely. They're listening in.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I want to get into my order, and I want to explain
Let's do it. I'm
my
excited.
watch order.
I'm excited to hear it.
Okay.
And then ruthlessly make fun.
Oh, I know. I know.
Let's hear it first.
I think this is the first time anyone has chosen this view order. So here it goes. Movie 1, Rogue One. Movie 2, A New Hope. Movie 3, Solo. Movie 4, The Empire Strikes Back. Movie 5, The Phantom Menace. Movie 6, Attack of the Clones. Movie 7, Revenge of the Sith. Movie 8, Return of the Jedi. Movie 9, The Force Awakens. Movie 10, The Last Jedi. Movie 11, Rise of Skywalker. Crazy.
Interesting.
I thought you were going to say
not that crazy. Not that crazy. I think starting off with Rogue One is... I thought about this too. Mm-hmm. It really makes sense to connect those two moments together. Yeah. The end of Rogue One and then right up to the beginning of A New Hope.
Yeah, so thank you for being on my side with this. And I want to explain this.
Oh, yeah.
Is Rogue One is a great way to build the stakes of A New Hope. And in A New Hope, I would say that most of people's favorite character that they get to meet is Han Solo. He's cool, and everyone wants to be Han Solo. They want to be smooth like Han Solo, which is why I want to go back to Solo. Now we get to know this guy a little bit more. He brags a little bit, but in this movie, he backs it up. So in Solo, he backs up what he says from A New Hope. From there, we go to The Empire Strikes Back, where Anakin is revealed. Darth Vader and Anakin are the same people. So this takes us back to, well, let's find out how this all happened. So we watch Empire Strikes Back, then we watch 1, 2, and 3. Then that brings us to Return of the Jedi, where we get to see like what Anakin's become, and we see how terrible he was to Obi Wan and Padme and all the things that he did in Order 66 and to the younglings and everything, and you want Luke to win even more. Then you kind of just have to go to 7, 8, and 9 because there isn't. I don't think there's any order that you could watch these movies in where 7, 8, and 9 mesh in between any of the other movies. I think that they have to be the tail end because everything would be spoiled and everything would just kind of be, already have been brought to a front.
Yeah, well, I think that's a great justification, especially when you're talking about episode 3 right next to episode 6, because, the idea of, Return of the Jedi, where Leia is revealed to be Luke's sister, it's sometimes I've heard fans call it a retcon,
Yeah.
but to see episode 3 where it's like, oh no, this is planned out,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's the realization, sister, so you have a sister,
Yeah.
and seeing like a little bit of Anakin's ruthlessness, that personal ruthlessness in like choking Padme and attacking the younglings, and then seeing that echoed in how he kind of uses Leia as a way to locate Luke
Yeah.
in their fight, because Luke is like, I'm hiding,
Mm-hmm.
and then the only way to kind of goad him into fighting him is to bring up his sister.
Yeah. And also with this is like, this is the first time, like if you watch in this order, now you as an audience member, you have a secret on the characters. You know that there was 2 born. And I think the reveal of Luke and Leia isn't that big of a deal in Return of the Jedi. It's like, okay, cool, you're brother and sister. Like, that means nothing to me. But if I'm watching 1, 2, and 3 going into episode 6, now we know as an audience that Luke and Leia are brother and sister, but Luke doesn't. Luke doesn't know this. Leia doesn't know this. So this like adds a whole new like thing of now the audience knows something that the characters don't know, because the characters knew that Vader was Anakin, and like you screwed us with that, and now we're getting you back by knowing Luke and Leia are twins when Luke and Leia don't know it.
Yeah, I think that's a great thought process there. I think that giving the audience an in makes it more of like, oh, it doesn't like kind of ruin the surprise. It, in a way, it just kind of like sees how will this play out? In a Game of Thrones way, it's like, we all know that Jon Snow is a Targaryen. We just are waiting for that moment where he finds out. So that's paid off in a big way.
Yeah, and I feel like the reveal in Return of the Jedi, I don't think anyone really cared. I don't think anyone cared if Luke and Leia were twins. I mean, Luke was just saving the princess. I mean, it wasn't a big reveal where people were like, oh my God, my mind is blown. Like, it's just okay, that's a way to do it. And that's just kind of how we're left with it. Like, and that moment is just like, how do you remember your mother? And she's like, oh, my mother was beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't remember my mother. Oh, well, I have a sister. Oh my God, I've always known that we're brother and sister. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and Luke's moment is like Obi-Wan's like, search your feelings. And he's like, Leia's my sister. And it's like, he doesn't even have to go to like 23andMe to find out. There's no real process. It's just like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then just moving on completely from that.
Yeah, I feel like enough characters within the Star Wars universe knew that Luke and Leia were twins, that it's a bigger reveal for them to know than for us to know.
Yeah.
But with that said, please comment below your watch order for Star Wars. And since this is a positive podcast, we want all 11 movies. We don't want anything negative. Let us know if you have to put all 11 movies in a watch order, not ranked on how great they are versus how much you hate them, in a watch order. Comment below.
Please don't leave your personal phone number. 11 phone numbers below. We're not going to call you.
Yes.
It's not happening.
Yes. Don't
do it.
Also,
no.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, ring the little bell. Hopefully I've got a little digital bell here that I'm ringing. But Tim, you're gonna sign us off here for our next episode.
Yes, please join us next time when we discuss the possibility of a dark side version of Luke Skywalker. This has been the key to all this, and may the Force be with you.
And also with you.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. It's so aggressive.